What's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Toast. And you know what? There's been a lot of conversation, a lot of speculation, and a lot of rumors about the idea that Xbox will add Steam to their next console. Well, you know about that. Apparently, Microsoft may have accidentally revealed that feature themselves a little bit early. So we're going to talk about what's happening with all that, and I'm also going to answer not only why this is very possible, but why it's actually probable. So stick around and we're going to get into all of that, as well as an exciting leak for the Nintendo Switch 2. Before we get started, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. You all are absolutely awesome, and just thank you so much for what you do. You will receive this video through early access. Let's just go and get right into things, though, starting off with one of my personal favorite JRPGs ever made, being Persona 4. Last year, we got the release of Persona 3 Reload. Fantastic game if you haven't already checked it out, but it was a very successful game for Sega. It quickly became Atlus's fastest selling game, with more than 1 million units sold in a span of a week. And yeah, I mean, with that amount of success, it kind of feels like a Persona 4 remake is really a bit of a no-brainer. You know, personally, it's my favorite in the series, mainly because of its story, its setting, and its characters. And now, we have what appears to be our first real indication that a remake is indeed in development, after all. This was discovered by Faz over on Twitter, and you can just read it here. He said P4RE.jp was registered a few hours ago. 2 years ago, P3RE.jp was registered. 3 months later, Persona 3 Reload was revealed. Now again, I think we all kind of expected a Persona 4 remake anyways, so I don't think that part's all that shocking per se. But the bigger part about this discovery is that if history repeats itself, that would mean that Persona 4 Remake might actually be in our hands a lot sooner than we expected. You know, I know for myself, I was not expecting a Persona 4 Remake reveal in 2025. I thought its reveal would probably still be about at least a year away. So, I mean, you know, this has my excitement way up. I mean, if this is true, I can't wait to play it. And even more, I'm thrilled by the idea that more people will discover it, considering the rising popularity for the Persona series. Now, we also got a small update for Assassin's Creed Shadows. It just launched today, and obviously, you know, it's one of the most controversial games ever made. So there's a lot of eyes on whether or not it will have success. Well, we do at least have an early indication over on PC, thanks to Steam Database. You can see here that so far it's peaked at just 41,000 players. Now, this number could continue to rise as gamers log in during the busier weekend period, but I will say that this number doesn't necessarily jump off the page. Just to kind of put things into perspective here, Assassin's Creed Odyssey reached 62,000 players back in 2018, and as we know, PC gaming has grown significantly since that point. So I would think that you'd want to see a higher number than this. Now, to be completely fair, we still don't know the console numbers, and that is important to keep in mind. I mean, there is a chance that it could be higher on consoles, and we can't necessarily rule that out. But again, I don't look at 41,000 on Steam as very impressive, given that it's a massive AAA franchise that probably cost Ubisoft a ton of money to make. You know, that's just the way AAA gaming is anymore. Let me know how you view this situation, though. Do you think this number is perfectly fine, or is it concerning? Oh, and Housemarque talked a little bit about their PlayStation acquisition and what it did for their studio. You know, a lot of times when we talk about studio acquisitions, we can talk about the negatives and how we don't like, you know, the industry consolidating and this, that, and the other. But there are certain aspects where it can actually improve studios, and Housemarque talked a little bit about that specifically. Prior to their acquisition, they mostly worked on smaller arcade-style of games like Resogun as one such example, and it really wasn't until Returnal that they tried something a little bit more AAA. Well, that turned out to be a success for them, and now they're following it up with an even bigger game, being Saros. And according to Housemarque, this game wouldn't be possible without Sony's acquisition. They actually compared its budget to Alan Wake 2, which as of right now is the most expensive cultural production in Finland. So, I mean, by all means, Saros is going to be a big title for them, and I'm excited to see how this game turns out. Returnal isn't necessarily my favorite game in the world, but I do enjoy their games overall just because they're all about that fun factor. Even in Returnal, they kept that arcade-like feel intact, and I'm excited to see what they learn from that experience and how they can make it even better in Saros. Now, unfortunately, we'll still be waiting for a while, as its planned release is in 2026. All right, so let's just go talk about what's happening here with Xbox, because they may have just let the cat out of the bag. Steam is coming to Xbox. Yes, this is directly coming from Microsoft themselves, and we can view this in all kinds of different ways, but I'm going to explain why this is a telltale sign of what's to come for their future. First, though, let's just kind of talk about what happened, and that's that Microsoft revealed a new image titled Opening a Billion Doors with Xbox. Now, at first glance, this doesn't really seem like all that big of a deal. It's just Xbox touting how you can play Xbox on all kinds of different devices. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice that this image sports a new Xbox UI as seen on its different devices. And even more so here is that this new UI includes none other than Steam. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, Microsoft has since taken this image down for obvious reasons. They didn't exactly want to reveal this yet. But thanks to The Verge, those images are still live. And let me just read this piece of the article for you. While the image appears to be a mock-up, with owned games listed twice as well as an action-adventure titles, I don't think the Steam label here is necessarily a mistake. Sources familiar with Microsoft's plans tells me that the company is currently working on an Xbox app update that will show every game you have installed on your PC. That includes games from Steam and the Epic Games Store, and I understand Microsoft will label these games accordingly. So, by all occasion, this is just more evidence that Xbox wants to bring Steam over to Xbox. And there's going to be a slow rollout for this that leads us into their next consoles. Now, technically, this UI, is more for what they're doing on PC currently. This is just an update for the Xbox app. But that is important for their imminent handheld plans. Let me just kind of explain how this is possible for their next console, though, and how this will play out, because a lot of people don't quite understand this. There's this general idea that some people have that Xbox needs to enter into some kind of partnership with Valve to make this happen. I've even heard some people claim that PlayStation won't allow their Steam games to be played on Xbox. And that's not exactly how this works. Valve is already a part of the Windows experience. And from everything that we know, the next Xbox console will be a Windows device, albeit it'll boot into this new Xbox UI. And that's why what's happening with the Xbox app right now, all these different updates that they're trying to do, this upcoming Asus handheld that they're working on, all of this is very important for their future. Because in other words, once you boot up your next Xbox, which will be a PC in disguise, it's going to feel like a console experience. But at the end of the day, that Xbox UI is still just a front end for Windows. It's just a PC in disguise. So unless Valve just flat out abandons Windows, which that's not going to happen, then theoretically, you could have access to Steam on the next Xbox console. But this is how it works on the Steam Deck, albeit that's a Linux-based device. So Xbox is doing what Valve is doing with their Steam OS. I mean, we've even heard that Xbox is going to license out this UI to third-party companies. That way that they can make their own version of Xbox. Last week, it was leaked that Xbox plans to release a handheld in partnership with Asus later this year. And this very well could be the first device to showcase the direction that they're going in for their next console. Again, those PC updates for Xbox are very important for what they're planning to do. And we're still a couple years out from the next generation of their console, but this new handheld is being described as a proof of concept that will help them evolve their Xbox UI for PC. So all of the signs are here. I mean, I can't necessarily guarantee anything until it's 100% official. There is still some speculation involved with this. But from everything that we know, and from everything that we're hearing, both from Xbox and from leaks, this is what Xbox wants to do. They want to combine their console and PC experience together. And yes, that means that Steam very well likely could be a part of their future devices. So, I mean, this is actually very exciting news. We've seen the growth of PC these past 5 to 8 years, and a big part of that is because of Steam. Steam is by far the most popular PC storefront, and actually, in my opinion, probably just the best gaming storefront all around. So Xbox has a real opportunity here to kind of unify their ecosystem with that type of experience, and really to make what possibly could be the most compatible device in the entire market that could play Xbox games, Game Pass games, PC games, including Steam games, PlayStation games that are on Steam, and even the endless amount of emulation that PC is capable of. So if they can execute this properly, which that part there, that remains to be seen, but if they can actually pull this off, this could really be an enticing device in the future. Let me know what you think about this, though. Do you think that Steam will be a part of Xbox in the future? And if Xbox really does have this hybrid PC console experience, is that something interesting to you or not? Let me hear it in the comments below. Now, one last thing before we go, we got some news that I think is incredibly promising for the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, we have its direct here in just a few weeks. I'm incredibly excited for that, and hopefully we get some more official details there. But there was a leak through a data mine that signifies backwards compatible games may actually perform better on the Switch 2. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean every single game will be better on the Switch 2. We probably shouldn't go in with that type of expectation, but it was discovered that Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, which just released today, has a hidden 60 FPS mode. You can see here its current dynamic resolution ranges from 504p to 720p on handheld, 760p to 1080p in docked. But where it gets really interesting is that the game's executable has a hidden 60 frames per second mode. It seems to be implemented only partially, since enabling it causes weird issues, as a proof screen from function that sets UI speed 1.0.1. So this very well could be our first sign that some games will in fact be improved via the Switch 2. And I know a lot of people have their doubts about this. I made a video last year where I said if you're patient, then you should just wait and play games like Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and Mario and Luigi Brothership. And a lot of people really got upset with when I said that, but that's how I went into that situation. Those are good games, but the performance is not great on the Switch 1, and theoretically, the Switch 2 could actually improve them. Well, we'll see. But I can point to a myriad of different Switch titles that has similar problems. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are prime examples of that, but lo and behold, the Switch 2 might be the long-forgotten patch that they kind of promised us years ago. I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, with this new update here, this even signifies that some games might just flat out get enhancements. They're not even going to be just fixed, but they are going to get enhancements as well. So, yeah, this, again, is pretty exciting. Either way, we won't have to wait all that long before we start to get some official details from Nintendo themselves that Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is planned for April 2nd, and hopefully we'll start to get confirmations for things like this. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.